Lester Group, Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
This holiday season, spread joy and save with Optimum Mobile. Get unlimited for just $30 a month per line for 2 or more lines. Voted #1 in customer satisfaction. You'll stay connected on America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G network. Plus, save up to $300 on the latest 5G phones. Switch and save with Optimum Mobile. With deals on the phones everyone wants, there's something for everyone on your holiday list. Get unlimited for just $30 a month per line for 2 or more lines. Plus, save up to $300 on the latest 5G phones. Go from great deals to spreading joy everywhere you go this holiday season. Visit Optimum.com/mobile, your local Optimum store, or call 8776-OPTIMUM. Get closer, go farther with Optimum. Autopay required. Exclusive pricing for 2+ lines of service with unlimited data. $300 savings applied as 36-month bill credits on eligible phones. Offer subject to discontinuance or change at any time. Terms and restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Jan from Toyota, reminding you that Toyotathon is on. And here to help make your holidays extra magical. How? Maybe it's driving in a Tacoma in search of the perfect hill to sled down. Cruising around the neighborhood in a Camry to go caroling. Popping from store to store in a Prius to find the perfect gift.
You did it. How'd you know?
Or it could be something much more simple, like surprising loved ones in a RAV4 hybrid.
You made it! What a surprise! Bobby, you're all grown up!
And seeing their faces light up when you pull up to their home. Stop by Toyotathon and make this holiday one to remember with an exciting new Toyota, like Highlander, Corolla, Tundra, and more. It's the perfect opportunity to gather with your friends and family, both near and far.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 3rd. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
Aggieland, this is your home for fighting Texas Aggie football. That's Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. You're listening to KZNE College Station Bryan.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's our 12 Deals of Christmas going on right now at your local Big Deal store. Hi, Jenny here, and I've been busy picking out the very best deals for you this holiday season. Each day is a different offer, and we have limited quantities, so run to your computer or smartphone and grab it quick.
Today's big deal is 50% off gift certificates from You Paint It, a paint-your-own pottery studio. Today only at AggielandBigDeals.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. The Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M running back Devon Achane has announced he will forego his senior season to enter the NFL Draft. Achane accounted for 36% of all of the Aggies' touchdowns this year with 12 and 65% of their rushing yards with 1,102. His departure means the Maroon and White now have 22 players who have either declared for the draft or entered the transfer portal. Now, the accolades continued to roll in for Achane as he was named a first-team All-SEC running back and first-team All-Purpose player by the conference's coaches. Teammates Antonio Johnson and Nick Constantinu were ranked second-team defensive back and second-team punter, respectively. And out to the basketball court, where the Aggie women took it on the chin last night, falling to the University of Arkansas Little Rock 42-38. Coach Joni Taylor after the loss.
You can't face a team that is as good defensively as Little Rock is, and then we make mistakes on the offensive end too, and that's not taking anything away from them. But we've got multiple lineups out there. We've got players hurt, so we're throwing in 4 guards. We've got an untraditional lineup right now, and so there's a lot of times too that we're not in a flow because we don't know what we're doing.
The 38 points was the lowest offensive output for the Aggies in 10 years. They'll look to bounce back December 18th when they welcome SMU to town. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
I'm happy for Auburn, and, I hope they've made a good choice. Do you think Auburn has learned anything from what they've experienced over the past couple of coaches?
Yeah, they learned a very important lesson. Hire someone who understands the SEC. That's why Hugh Freeze got the job.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bull crap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him! Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio. Right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Hey, records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo? I do not stay at the Intercontinental.
Welcome back, or welcome in, I should say. We're not welcoming you back. We're welcoming you back from yesterday. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it is Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Maroon never looks so good with Maroon You. Olin Buchanan with us this morning. OB, do we start with good news or bad news? I'm going to let you pick.
Good news.
Good news. Happy birthday.
Oh,
that's the good news we're starting.
Hey, I'm still alive, right? I made it another year. Yes. At my age, every birthday is a good one.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yesterday was Dalton's. I didn't announce it on the air. I think he was in a witness relocation because I couldn't find him. So happy birthday to Dalton as well yesterday. My mom's birthday was yesterday as well. So
is that right? And
birthdays
Johnny
all over the
Manziel
place.
was as well.
Was yesterday Johnny Manziel?
Yeah, I believe Johnny Manziel was yesterday too.
And you told me this. Some other folks have birthdays.
Yeah,
closer?
we used to have a whole bunch of birthdays clustered together.
Yeah.
I think Gabe Bach is probably on Friday, but he doesn't work here anymore.
He'll tweet about it. Let's.
He'll send out a video.
He will. He will.
And probably ask people to send him gifts.
No, he won't do that.
I think he might.
Well, if anybody wants to send me a gift, I'm not against that either.
Yeah, I think he might.
All right. Yeah. Well, happy birthday to everybody who has a birthday. How about that? All year long. Gabe, Dalton, Olin, my mom, Johnny Manziel. Wasn't Kay recently too? Yeah, like last week.
I was.
She turned 21.
I was. Big 2-1.
Big 2-1. That party lasted a whole week. Let's just go ahead and admit that right now.
So I got 40 years. Think about that. I was 40 when she was born.
That's crazy to think about.
And she's much more mature than me.
This is true. She and also Kennedy Cavan have no problem letting you know how old you are, by the way. I've learned that.
It's more Kennedy than me.
I think you're part of the conversation.
Somewhat.
A little bit?
Somewhat.
Little bit?
Just a little bit.
How about some sad good news?
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
I am very sad Devon Achane is going to the NFL from an Aggie football 2023 perspective. I am very pumped and proud of that young man, and I can't wait to see what he does at the next level.
Yeah, the only way I can ever feel good about this is if the Cowboys draft him. I don't know how big Tony Pollard is, but I could see Devon Achane being just like him.
Yeah.
And you know what really makes me sad about Achane leaving? Because we saw his greatness, but we never saw how great he really could be behind a really effective offensive line and with an effective passing game.
Yeah, you're right. It's interesting how you want him to go to your team.
Yes.
And I don't want him to go to my team because I don't want my team to ruin him. All that being said, my team being the Texans, Kenyon Green goes there, and he's pretty darn good. So maybe a Kenyon Devon Achane could kind of put that team back on the map. But the Cowboys are already on the map.
Here, if you're watching on TV, oh, no, that's the Appalachian State kickoff return. I thought it was going to be the Alabama kickoff return. The best play of his career was the Alabama kickoff return. And I'd say the next one was the Orange Bowl run against the 75-yarder against who was that against?
Arkansas right there, which I thought he was going to go. If he doesn't get kind of slowed down there, he would have gone all the way to the house.
And it was against, I was going to say, 76 yards, North Carolina. And then I think his third best play, his third best run, was the first carry against Florida this year.
Yeah.
If you go back and just see how there was no blocking, and he turned it into a 65-yard run, 67 yards, I think.
Yeah, look.
What an amazing player.
Great young man. And I wouldn't say I know him, but I've gotten to know him doing these stacked interviews this year. And just always very kind, answer any question. And he's a teammate first. And look, it tells you how good he is when last year, I think Isaiah Spiller's pretty darn good too, right? Like, obviously. But at the end of the year, I wanted him to get more carries than Isaiah.
Isaiah Spiller, he's an NFL back, and I think he'll get more and more work as as his career goes on. I think he's going to have a successful career. And I can remember Gabe and I going to the Orange Bowl, and we were talking about Spiller, and I said, I think Achane's better. And that's not a knock on Spiller.
Yeah.
I just think Achane's better. And then I think Isaiah got hurt in that game, and Achane came in and had a big game. And then last year he would have had 1,000 yards as a backup to Spiller had A&M been able to play in the Wake Forest in the bowl game. And then this year, I still believe he would have made a run at 2,000 with adequate blocking. And, of course, what do you have, 1,100 and missed 2 games, including what should have been a stat game against UMass.
Yep.
And, boy, if there was ever any question of what he meant to the offense, was that not answered at Auburn?
He is a tougher running back than I thought. And I thought he was tough. And Jimbo would say it in press conferences. This guy is really good between the tackles. Because in my mind, I resort back. It's like I think this happens with certain types of quarterbacks and wide receivers. You think of them in a certain way just because of their size potentially. And I thought of him as just a speed guy. But what I learned this year was between the tackles, he is tough. And he also can change direction and make you look like a fool in an instant.
Oh, he did a lot of that against LSU, right?
Yeah, he did.
So just a remarkable player. I remember the first time outside in the lobby when Ryan Broniger said, "Hey, come here and let me show you some video of this kid that the Aggies are recruiting." And he might have still been just a junior at Fort Bend Marshall.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, that's got to be the top priority right there. And then you heard that, other teams are on it, but I guess everybody's making such a big deal over Zach Evans. That guy's better than Zach Evans.
He is better than Zach Evans.
He's better than a whole lot of people.
There was a chance you could have had both of them, though.
I just wish that the Aggies would have him for one more year. I would have put in my $50 to the collective.
Yep.
I might have even gone at $55. But I wish him the best because he's not only a great player, like you said, he's just a great person, and he's one of those guys that's easy to root for. I hope, Devon, that you are not drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Reds, whatever they're called. And
Generals. What are they? Commanders.
And the New York Giants. The teams that I hate, the Packers, I don't want them to take you. Niners, I don't want them to take you. The teams I hate, I hope you don't go to because I don't want to have to root against you.
Yeah. The inverse of that is I remember when the Texans were drafting number 1 and it was the Reggie Bush, Vince Young, Mario Williams ended up being the number 1 pick. I remember thinking to myself, I really hope they don't take Vince Young. I don't want to have to root for Vince Young, although he turned out to be a really nice kid.
Did you root? Well, you're probably too young. You're probably too
Earl
young
Campbell?
now. Yeah, Earl Campbell.
I remember the Earl Campbell days, but I don't think I was invested
Right.
in Oiler football the way. But I ended up meeting Errol.
I think
loving
once,
him.
I have a different opinion of him. But once you leave,
It changes.
Whatever kind, and you kind of then all's forgiven.
I don't know about all, but yeah, it just like I learned to appreciate Colt McCoy more after he left. Like there's certain guys that after you leave, I don't like to do it on FSR. What's his name? At Fox Sports. Acho, right?
Oh yeah, I don't like that guy.
Yeah,
but it's not because of that he's Texas.
No,
it's because of what he is now.
Yeah, but sometimes his Texas-ness gets in the way.
There is some arrogance that just kind of
he's actually
oozes out.
He's a good broadcaster. I'll give him. I mean, but some of the takes it just gets old.
Yeah.
But back to this Devon situation. So now, a couple things I'm thinking about. Amari Daniels. He's probably thinking, Le'Veon's like, all right, our opportunity's coming.
Here it comes.
I wonder what L.J. Johnson is thinking. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's like, whatever, I'm ready to move on. He goes in the portal. And I wonder what Ruben Owens is thinking.
Opportunity. They just changed their head coach at Louisville. Or do they even have a head coach at Louisville yet? Their head coach just left.
He just left, yeah.
For Cincinnati?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those two, at least he doesn't have to go far from Louisville to Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a lot more on Ruben Owens. I assume we'll have more on Ruben Owens later on today.
I once had to cover a basketball game in Cincinnati, and the flight was outrageous. So I was talking to the travel agent. I said, well, what if I flew? Is there another place I could fly close? The price was outrageous, like $1,000. So well, we could fly you to Louisville for $500. I said, well, let's do that. And they said, no, we can't. I said, why? Well, there's a stop. And if you get off the plane, it voids your. I said, okay, there's a stop. Where's the stop? Cincinnati. So to fly to Cincinnati, to get to Cincinnati, I had to fly to Cincinnati and then fly to Louisville and then drive to Cincinnati to save $500. So I'm assuming what's his name, Satterfield?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's going to get there for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, I assume so. By the way, if you want to be a part of
come on, Ruben. You can't have too many running backs.
Just hang out at A&M. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, it's just right down. I mean, you can get from El Campo here. You can get here from El Campo in 2.5 hours.
But here, I'm an old man. Like, let's be honest, because I worry about worrying. So, like, certain level of players, I'm already in my head thinking, all right, you recruit him now. Let's say you get him. Then you got to recruit him again in 6 months. And you got to, like, it's just like the never ending, like, they're never really yours. You borrow them.
Now.
Yeah. And I know I got to get used to it. It is what it is. But
you can't keep them if you don't get them.
No. But you can get them later. There is that.
Maybe. I'd rather have them and have to try to keep them than not get them and try to lure them.
But like the stress of it all is all year long. I can imagine for these coaches, like Billy said it a long time ago, you need to have guys checking on these dudes daily.
Daily,
like,
yeah.
All of them, right? All of them. Let's
hire somebody to do that.
Open up the phone lines, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. You can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. We go behind the glass. We've got Nick Savage there. Nick, good morning, sir.
Good morning, y'all. Happy birthday, OB. First things first.
Thank you very much.
And second thing, that Devon A-Chain highlight clip I had to cut was probably the hardest thing I've had to do here, just trying to find, like, there's so many highlights to sift through and find what is, worthy to be up there.
He had a heck of a touchdown run against Arkansas as a freshman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over right tackle.
I tried to do it in order of, how 2020 to 2022, but I mean, man, I was at the Alabama game and his kickoff return is just something that I will remember for the rest of my life. He's honestly one of the most fun players to play or to watch at A&M since probably Johnny Manziel, in my opinion.
What I remember of that touchdown return is he's like at the 40 and he's broken away and he's like at the A&M 40, 45, something like that. And Jalen Preston, who's trailing, is holding up the touchdown sign because he knows nobody's going to
catch him. Yeah, he's going to go to the house. Let's go to the News and Social Center. Kay Nagley. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning. First of all, happy birthday, OB.
Well, thank you, Kay.
We're filled of birthdays. I love this.
We all have to be born sometime.
I don't remember this love fest for birthdays on September 10th of this year. It was the second week of the football season, and people did not care. I didn't get a hello. I don't even think I got a card.
David, remind us what happened the second week of football season.
Oh, that's right.
I think that had something to do with it.
But my birthday was before.
Oh, so you're talking about your birthday.
Yeah.
September 10th is your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What day was the game, actually? It might have not been. What was the game? The 10th? I think it was actually on my birthday, wasn't it?
Well,
it was because
we weren't here then.
You came in here and you're like, worst birthday ever to do post-game raps.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
I remember that.
But look, I'm gonna defer or want to share some of my adulation for my birthday today. So if you are listening to me and you feel compelled to say happy birthday to me, thank you. But instead, send your happy birthday wishes to David.
Yeah, because my birthday has sucked for the last 3 months because of that App State game. Since then, I have not celebrated.
Hey, just think about this, though. I'm 61 today. So 2 days ago, you were bragging about being able to beat up a 61-year-old
Yeah,
man.
and I saw how fast you ran.
Had something to brag.
There was no bragging. Billy asked me a question, and I told him the truth.
The truth.
The truth, yeah.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to find out because, I don't want to mess up my suit. But, yeah.
All right.
Look at the cockiness. All right, Kay. Give us some news.
All right. As we know, Devon A-Chain has officially declared for the 2023 NFL Draft. I know a lot of Aggies will miss him, but I'm sure he will be in great hands up in the NFL. On that same note, Devon A-Chain, Antonio Johnson, and Nick Constantino earned all SEC accolades the league offense announced on Tuesday. Moving on, the Texas A&M women's basketball team dropped last night's defensive battle against the Little Rock Trojans 42-38. And then one final special message from Pat Henry saying, we are hosting the USA Junior Cross Country Championships this Saturday for all age divisions. There will be over 3,000 competitors there, and he can get you more info to those who need it.
Thank you, Coach Henry. If you guys have any questions, just reach out here to TexAgs. We'll help you out. Try to get those answers for you. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, so we did part of the discussion, which was about Devon A-Chain. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper. How different does this team look today? Remember, there's only been people leaving. Nobody's come in yet. That's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. But let's kind of go through the draft, through the portal, through whatever. We'll get into that when we come back. Right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you've purchased a vehicle from Zach Hester and his crew, you know that he's going to take care of you before, during, and after the process. That is what they do at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They've got a great selection of pre-owned vehicles there. And if you check it out, I know there's a lot of inventory that's low around the country still because of all the things that happened during COVID. They're going to give you top value for your trade-in, plus a great deal on your next vehicle there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Simply call, click, stop by Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, Brian and Caldwell, but you will see the difference when you step on the lot and you do business with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Zone. Aggieland's all sports station.
Does the insulated glass in your windows refuse to come clean no matter how hard you work? If so, the glass unit has probably lost its seal. You might notice moisture between the panes, a hazy look, shadows, or even the growth of some white mold. If so, it's time to call your friends at Intercon. Not only are these conditions unattractive, but you no longer have an insulated barrier in your windows. There are a number of options available to you to remedy lost seals. Most options allow you to retain your existing window frame and just replace the bad glass with a new sealed unit. Clear insulated glass offers an insulating pocket, but no protection against solar heat gain. Low-E insulated glass adds a coating between the sheets of glass. The coating blocks about 80% of the solar heat gain, as well as the damaging UV rays of the sun. Another option is to trade out the entire window frame with a premium vinyl window. Since Intercon does both glass and windows, we can offer you a full complement of options. Call Intercon and get a free quote for a locally owned and managed business.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help you keep your home energy efficient year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Gulf States Toyota, Hargrove Insurance, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with actor Andy Buckley, who played David Wallace on The Office. Buckley told him about meeting Will Ferrell for the first time.
And I had never met him. He said, the show's so funny this year. He said that, and he starts referencing things. So I was literally just like a guy who's a stockbroker, and I've been watching Will Ferrell forever. I am a division manager.
That's pretty cool.
Sports Talk, connecting with legends, weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Zone.
All right, that was a long intro. Everything went out for a second.
Yeah.
We're back.
But everybody got to listen to Hank Williams Jr. a little bit longer.
You know what I call him?
Bocephus?
Well, that's on Wednesdays. Oh, today is Wednesday, so Bocephus.
Yeah.
I call him good old Hank.
Good old Hank.
Good old Hank. It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. If you want to be a part of the discussion here during the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, all you got to do, call us up, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. It's all right. All right, let's get into, I said this is all right because I saw something on my chat in the head. You know, you ever answer something in your head, but you say it out loud? Like you think it's just in your head, but then you say something.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? No?
No, not really.
You just did it right there.
No, I knew what I was saying.
I know.
So
Hey,
anyway.
all right. So
what's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is a lot of changes for Texas A&M, and I kind of want to go through them because the transfer portal and the NFL draft, it may not be a huge sting overall when it comes to the portal, but when you combine the draft, the portal, and think about depth, this is going to be a completely different team. If I would have told you these names before the season were not going to be around, I think some of them are predictable, obviously, but it's just still a huge, your day one starting quarterback, your day one defensive end, your a wide receiver that played a lot. Andre White was supposed to, Jalen Jones. These are huge names. I'll read them for those on radio. Devon Achane going to the draft. Jalen Jones going to the draft. Andre White transfer. Haynes King transfer. Denver Harris transfer. Tamisha Adelier transfer. Chase Lane transfer. This is just a fraction of the list, but these are some of the bigger names on the
The
list.
only transfer on that list that I go, gosh, that really hurts is Denver Harris.
Denver Harris is the one that really hurts the most.
Yeah. Andre White, nice player. Not a difference maker. There's a whole lot of guys just like him. I'd rather him stay because he has some experience, but we saw what linebackers was. Haynes, some people like him, some don't, but he'd be a nice backup, but he doesn't want to be a backup. I get that. Denver, of course, I think he's going to be really good. Tamisha Adelier, I got plenty of defensive ends. Chase Lane was a non-factor this year.
Yep.
So, and he wasn't probably going to be a factor the rest of his career here.
I think I saw that he tweeted that Kansas offered him. I think I saw.
And among others.
Yeah. Good for him.
I think Colorado offered him, I think.
Oh, yeah. Colorado's.
They're offering everybody.
Yeah, they are offering everybody.
Well, they went 1-11.
They got spots. they got spots.
They need to upgrade their roster, obviously.
But, again, the changes to the roster, even though some we predicted, those are some names, OB, like Devon Achane and Jalen Jones at the top of the list for the draft, which they should absolutely, I would rather them stay, and I can make an argument to why both should stay, but I also understand, if they're getting the grades that they're hearing, then you got to test the waters. You got to see.
Well, I just wonder who they're hearing it from. And Achane, I really can't come up with a reason to argue that he should come back other than, we can make sure you get paid a whole lot of money to come back and maybe win the Heisman Trophy. I've said it before, Jalen Jones, I think he'll get drafted. But I just think if he came back, he'd have a chance to really improve it. Not that I'm not an expert on it.
No.
I'm just guessing that he's probably a 4th-round pick. I'm guessing. I'm admitting I could be way off on that.
Well, it's interesting, too, because you saw it last year with DeMarvin. There's certain grades that you get in November and December, and then it changes the closer you get to the draft. And some people do shoot up because they have a great combine, and some go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
DeMarvin, at one point last year, was considered maybe a top 10, 12th pick.
Yeah, and then he ended up in the 3rd round.
3rd round, yeah.
So
he went to the right place for him.
And I just think Jalen is, he had a few injuries, and then I think, didn't he get hurt against Mississippi State, so missed almost all that game. So I just think he's the guy that if he came back could have a really strong year and maybe work himself into the 1st or 2nd round. And he may anyway, right? I don't know. But that's what I suspect. So, but again, I don't hold ill will for him, and I hope he is a 1st or a 2nd round pick, and I hope he has a brilliant career in the NFL.
OB2, the interesting thing was yesterday, this world we live in with social media and fake accounts and people reading reports incorrectly and then tweeting.
Oh, my gosh.
Yesterday there was a fear that Martrell Harris was going to leave. and it ended up being Ish Harris, whose first name is similar.
Montreal,
yeah.
Which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
You know, what came to my mind is how many times over the last 10 years I've been here where Billy Lucci has stressed, we are going to be right before we're first.
Right.
Don't report it unless you absolutely know it to be fact. Check everything else, and then he said, we'll sacrifice being first to be right, which is not the way you do it necessarily in a lot of places, right?
Well, I've been around situations where they've said, it's okay to be wrong.
So there it comes out. Somebody, I guess you'd call it a competitor of ours, of TexAgs, comes out saying that that Martrell Harris is in the transfer portal. It tweets it out, and then
people pick it up.
And then Martrell retweets with the comment saying, "No, I didn't." I mean, how embarrassing must that be? And I've had embarrassing moments, right, as a journalist, but that's kind of a hard one to swallow. You're trying so hard to break something, and you hear that and you say, well, there's a lot of Harrises, and just want to, do you make one call to confirm?
Well, I just think it's more of I don't know about more, but it is an indictment in the way social media, anything out there blows up, right? And before, I'm going to give an example. I've made mistakes on TV before, on this show before, right? And there's people here to hold us accountable. But it doesn't blow up like wildfire. Somebody tweets something, and then all these other services who I feel like are against A&M are tweeting it back out too. And look, A&M losing another one. A&M unexpected. How many this and that? It just becomes a bigger story than it is. And then it's fixed, but the fix doesn't get the same light that the mistake got.
And here's the frustration I have with this. And if you want, I actually like to make fun of Ryan Broniger. I don't make fun of Jason Howell. If he was down here, I probably would. But those guys do an amazing job.
They do.
So if you want to follow A&M recruiting and get it, get it right and understand what's really going on, there's really no reason to be following any of those other sites. And I mean, that's just a fact. And this whole thing with one of these sites that covers A&M that actually reported something else last week that just wasn't true, that somebody was fired, and he's not. Mm-hmm. Yet, maybe he will be, but they report. So, man, save yourself a few bucks if you want to follow it, that's going to get it right, because Lucci and Ryan Broniger and Jason Howell, they're going to get it right.
They're going to get it right. That's true. And all the more reason to go become a premium subscriber and get the news before it hits anywhere else. It's and it's interesting. TexAgs,
get the correct news.
Yeah, and look, it is interesting because even though we have competitors, everybody comes to TexAgs to get their content, that either what we're reporting on or what our message board is saying, and using that as well as information on social. So let's do this. Let's hit a break. We'll come back. Look, there isn't anything really new with OC. It is all quiet on the Western Front, but let's talk a little bit about that, because patience and getting the right person is much more important than, and by the way, this is still within the timeline that we all kind of expected things to happen later on this week, and we're right now hitting the middle of the week. Right now we're talking Milliken Reserve, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes. Yep, I like their homes out there. Very nice. They got trails. I like their trails out there as well. And they got wide open spaces. You can do a lot of stuff with wide open spaces. Their mission is to build a healthy community around nature, dedicated to the conservation and a healthy community, respect for the native landscape and wildlife, 2,600 acres of open space. You've got farms. You've got 30 miles of trails. You've got homes. Milliken Reserve connects families to nature and to each other. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that has walking paths, beautiful equestrian paths, creeks, ponds, gathering areas, you name it. They have a variety of native species. Find their homes there in those preserved woods, ponds, and creeks. Go check it out. You will love it. You can go get your veggies there. You can go get your home there. You can just go enjoy nature there. Visit the website, millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Voices for Children is hosting its annual 12 Days of Giving through December 12th. Check out today's story on their Facebook page and donate online at vfcbrazos.org/12days. This is the final week to adopt a BCS Salvation Army Christmas angel. Angel trees are located at all Blue Baker restaurants and Post Oak Mall. Adoptions can also be made online at salvationarmybcs.org. United Way of the Brazos Valley is seeking volunteer drivers for its Ride to Health service. Drive residents to healthcare appointments and pharmacies. Find more information at uwbv.org/volunteer. Submit your nonprofit event by email to news@wtaw.com. Listen to your favorite holiday hits on our sister station, Christmas 97.3 FM. Guaranteed to get you humming along. Your favorite holiday hits 24/7 on Christmas 97.3 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Due to the Texas heat, humidity, not to mention the multiple hail and windstorms, most roofs don't last their full lifetime. But since 2006, AmeriStarRoofing.com has been helping Texans protect their homes from age and storm-related damages, and they have multiple adjusters on staff working directly with your insurance company to ensure that you get the coverage you need to make your home look new again. Call Ameristar Roofing now to schedule your free roof inspection, 979-446-9874. AmeriStarRoofing.com.
WPI needs a service technician to diagnose and repair heavy equipment for their Bryan location. This full-time position comes with a company vehicle, insurance, 401k, paid holidays, paid vacation, and competitive pay if you or someone you know is hardworking, dependable, and looking for full-time employment in the construction equipment repair industry. Apply in person with Jesse James at WPI in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road. WPI, an equal opportunity employer.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's our 12 Deals of Christmas going on right now at your local Big Deal store. Hi, Jenny here, and I've been busy picking out the very best deals for you this holiday season. Each day is a different offer, and we have limited quantities, so run to your computer or smartphone and grab it quick.
Today's big deal is 50% off gift certificates from You Paint It, a paint-your-own pottery studio. Today only at AggielandBigDeals.com.
Yo, it's Jay Williams from Keyshawn, J. Will and Max. They told us we can give you guys anything we wanted. So we're giving away free cash.
You wanna talk about money?
We're giving away $10K a day. And all you have to do is listen to us for a chance to win.
You can win $2,500 an hour every hour, weekday mornings 5 to 8 here on The Zone with Keyshawn, J. Will and Max, powered by WC Tractor.
All right, I went
to Copperhead Road.
Is it Copperhead Road? Talk to King of Country pop culture guy, David Nuño. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Steve Earle?
Steve Earle, yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah. I've seen his name on Spotify.
Okay.
By the way, I don't know if it looks like, can we do the big shot? Thank you. I don't know if it looks like you are a birthday boy, which is what your hat says, or you're going to like give us some ice cream. But you've got a hat on.
Well, Kennedy, I made it.
Miss Cabin,
and it's appreciated. Now I took it off, and she said, "No, you got to have it on for when we come back." So she put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, she did, like quickly.
So it was nice of her.
I love the not a day over 21.
So I figured up. She said, "Not a day over 21." It says on the back, and I figured up being 61. That means I am 14,610 days over because I had to. So it's 365 times 40.
Yeah.
Plus add 10 for 10 leap years.
Right.
There you go.
There you go. Look at you. You know the exact amount of days.
I didn't think about it until I saw this, not a day over 21. I'll tell you this, my 21st birthday pretty much sucked. I remember that.
21st birthday sucked?
Yeah. Because I had to work at the Longview News.
Like
from 8 to after midnight. And I was in Longview at, well after midnight. There was not a whole lot going on. So
I don't even remember what I did for my 21st birthday. That's embarrassing.
That's probably why it was such a good time.
Yeah, probably so. I remember dunking my ring, which was right around the same time, but I don't remember my 21st birthday.
Yeah, I don't think Kay remembers hers either.
I do. It was just
I
a
remember
couple
seeing her
days.
the next day, and she was like talking like this.
That was because of a lack of sleep, honestly. That was just like my voice didn't have time to recuperate. So
She doesn't like the attention about her birthday. I can tell. She's like,
It's
move
just-
on already, guys.
it happened. It is what it is. Hey, we took Steve to Northgate this past weekend. He enjoyed that thoroughly. So
Thanks for the invite.
Dad. Oh, yeah.
would you have come, Nuño?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, hey, what do you do? Nothing. I do nothing.
I would have.
Yeah, you would have.
Except I would have been in. I couldn't because I was in Fort Worth watching.
You would have gone to Brenham. You would have gone to Houston.
I did go to Brenham.
I know. I heard that
oh,
story.
Oh my gosh.
You want to tell people?
Yeah, there's this guy. If you're from South College Station and you go to the HEB there, you probably know Mr. Charles. And I hope Mr. Charles is listening. And he is one of the. I mean, he is one of the nicest people. He is just a great person in the community, even though he lives in Brenham. But what we're claiming him anyway.
Yeah, well, he's ours.
I mean, he's a gem, and it was his birthday, and he sent this a couple of weeks ago, right? And he sent an invitation for his birthday party, and it was Dallas Cowboys themed. So it said, wear your Cowboys jersey or your favorite team, and it said from like 6 until 1 o'clock at the fairgrounds in Brenham.
Yep.
And so Irma and I, we put on and said, well, it's Sunday night, because I knew I couldn't cover it on Saturday because that was the LSU game.
Mm-hmm.
So of course so we got dressed up and got our Cowboys. She had her Raider stuff. We drove all the way over there, and there was nobody there. And
why was that?
Because it was Saturday.
When you should have been working.
When I was working.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I didn't even.
He even said to you, right? Like,
I mean, I think I was just so focused on, and you know how it is because you do this on that game.
Yeah.
That you think nothing else happens that day.
Right. People live.
So it had to be the day after, right? But then I was like, why would anybody have a party that ends at 1 a.m. on a Sunday? Because so we drove all the way over there, and then there's nobody there, and so I was able to text him saying Irma had a picture taken of me and her in our jerseys driving back. And it's been a laugh.
I've told you before, I love how you are okay with small talk. You're fine with it. Like, I'm uncomfortable typically in small talk. You're good at it, and you're engaging, and you really care. Charles is one of the few humans, like when I go places, I usually have a mission. I'm going to get what I want, and I'm getting out. And if I'm going to get my egg whites, I'm getting cereal for the kids, I'm in and out. If I see Charles, I purposely stop to chat with my buddy.
If anybody listening is, again, living in South College Station, they know who we're talking about.
Say hi to him.
And they like him because he likes everybody.
He does.
He's one of the reasons. And then they have a Neffy, or I don't know her as well. She's a little small, tiny Hispanic woman that works in there, and those two people make you want to go shop there. I didn't mean to do a commercial for.
Yeah, we just did one. Yeah, but let's do a commercial for the offensive coordinator position, and really more of a commercial for. It's not even a commercial. Why am I using that term? The patience is part of the process. It's quiet right now. And it's quiet because it's probably designed to be quiet for them to do the right research. But we do know this day, this comment, this hire, I should say, will be happening soon.
I would think it would happen very soon. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened before the end of the week. That said, you gotta interview. Maybe you don't remember that it was a big deal last year about this time when it came out that. Or maybe it's a little bit before this time, but it came out that Ed Orgeron hired Bo Pelini, maybe it's 2 years ago, as his defensive coordinator. And he said, I didn't interview him. And I went, wait, you hired a coordinator and you didn't even interview him? And we thought about how we laughed about it here. Everybody laughed about it everywhere. And you saw what a disaster it was over there. Well, are we going to laugh at that now or then? And then now say, well, just hire somebody already. So you got to go through a certain amount of due diligence.
And let me ask you this, because the warrior in me is thinking it's like the transfer portal. I'm looking at the hiring of the offensive coordinator the same way. I want a guy who is committed to being here for a few years, not somebody that is going to be a head coach next year. But I guess if they're really good, it doesn't matter who you hire. That's going to be a possibility.
I want a guy that's going to help A&M win a championship next year. And if he does, hopefully he stays. But if he doesn't, I've got my championship, and then I'll worry about 2014 after the 2023 season's over.
Yeah.
So I want the best guy you can get that can come in and ramp up that offense, because we don't have A-Chain anymore. And we saw what the offense was what. So we need this A-Chain. We need a change without A-Chain so we can win a championship.
So I think it's imperative that they find the guy soon, because I assume Alabama is going to get rid of Bill O'Brien, or he's going to move on real soon.
Don't, Alabama. He's doing such a great job.
He's great. Keep him. Can you imagine if he was a candidate here?
No, I can't. There's too many people from Houston, right?
Yeah.
That would say, "Oh, no." They'd be storming
But
the field in a bad way.
Let me ask you a question.
What?
Would it be an upgrade?
No.
Okay.
No.
I agree with you. I'm just asking. But they're going to have an opening, I would assume, at both defense coordinator and offense coordinator. They're going to get a high-profile name. Maybe Dan Mullen. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a name. Wait, do they have a relationship? I don't even know. Doesn't matter. Nick wants certain type of people. So I just think about the competition in it all, and at some point, I assume Bill O'Brien's going to go back to the NFL or get a head coaching job or just be fired.
I would hope and I would expect that they'll have that position filled well before National Signing Day, which is what, next Thursday? Next Wednesday?
It's a ways. National Signing Day is December
21st. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. So I would think that they'll have it done before then.
Remind me, Durkin was after signing day, right?
Was he?
I can't remember. Here, I'm going to do a little Google search on that. Say something for a second.
I'm pretty sure he was.
But you're already on your way last year to putting together this great recruiting class, and you thought you were going to have a really good defense anyway, and so you probably didn't feel that it was as pressing of a need. Now you've got an offense that
January 21st for Durkin.
Now you have an offense that needs to be retooled.
Yeah.
And you need some of these recruits and transfers to understand who their offensive coordinator is a lot more than you, in my opinion, than you needed your defensive coordinator. In fact, when did they lose Elko last year?
December the 13th. That's when he was announced as the head coach at Duke.
So most of the recruiting for the early period had already been done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would just seem that with a guy like Reuben Owens out there, now considering A&M, you would assume some of the other guys out there that you would assume are considering A&M transfers that are going to want to make their decision pretty fast. You'd probably be well served to say, yeah, I know our offense had some troubles last year. We had injuries, but also we brought in a new offensive coordinator. Look what he did here.
So last year, National Signing Day was December the 15th. And Elko actually had agreed with Duke right around December the 10th, so they had to scramble those last few days, and they did a good job, obviously. All right, we're going to hit a break here. When we come back, one final segment of the Go Hour here presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. We'll get to some of those text messages on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. Let's talk about a Brazos Running Company at their new location there in Century Square. I was actually talking to my wife this morning. I need some new kicks. It doesn't matter if you're running, walking, you need to replace your shoes. I think they say it's every 250 to 500 miles in that range. Call it 400, sweet spot. If you're a runner, if you're a walker, because it is all about the biomechanics in your body, and the soles go out. It's not good for you. It just really isn't. And a lot of runners will tell you, they can tell their body starts aching when they haven't changed their shoes. That's not just an advertising ploy. That is a fact. I've gone through it many times. I'm sure many of you runners know exactly what I'm talking about. That new specialty running store, it's got great brands like On and Hoka. They're very passionate about running and finding the right shoe for you. So certainly go check them out at their new location there and get that expert level of service you've come used to getting there. They've got the big brands and Vuori out there, the hottest athletic brand out there. Go check it out. Brazos Running Company for your holiday shopping, located now in Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill.
Become a Facebook friend and get even more. More of the Zone. More of the Zone. Like us on Facebook at Zone 1150. 1150.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
As the old saying goes, if your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. At Intercon, we have a full toolbox to meet your window needs. Perhaps your home is ready for a full retrofit to vinyl windows. This full replacement option beautifies your home while improving thermal efficiency, noise reduction, and dust penetration. On the other hand, your existing windows may just need some maintenance. The glass in your existing windows may be replaced, in many cases upgraded to more efficient options. The mechanism in your windows can be replaced to allow the window to operate more smoothly. Maybe you just need solar screens on some windows to eliminate hot spots in your home that tax the air conditioning system and make some rooms unlivable. With the breadth and depth of Intercon's knowledge and product offering, we can find the solution that meets your needs and budgetary constraints. Trust your friends at Intercon to understand your needs and use the best tool for the job.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Holiday Sparkle starts at Montelongo's Fine Jewelry. The Montelongo's Fine Jewelry family has been helping people select the perfect gift for over 30 years, and they want to be your jeweler this holiday season. Let Montelongo's help you find a dazzling gift from their incredible selection that's in stock and ready to be wrapped. Decide joy. Decide to give. Decide Montelongo's. Bring home a little sparkle with a gift from Montelongo's Fine Jewelry that's sure to make your loved one's Christmas shine. Visit their showroom on University Drive, and Merry Christmas from the Montelongo family to yours.
Due to the Texas heat, humidity, not to mention the multiple hail and windstorms, most roofs don't last their full lifetime. But since 2006, AmeriStarRoofing.com has been helping Texans protect their homes from age and storm-related damages, and they have multiple adjusters on staff working directly with your insurance company to ensure that you get the coverage you need to make your home look new again. Call Ameristar Roofing now to schedule your free roof inspection, 979-446-9874. AmeriStarRoofing.com.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
Whiskey River, Take My Mind. TexAgs Radio.
Let her memory torture me.
We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate all of you on the A&B text line. It is the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB brought up something that is not sports related at all, but I actually had a similar thought within the last 48 hours. OB, you asked me if I'd ever watched Home Alone, and
right.
Like every American in the world, yes, I have. And then you brought up something that has not been. It should be a bigger topic than it is.
Yes, I'm watching it last night because I couldn't think anything else was on. I didn't want to watch Texas and Illinois play basketball. And I saw it, so I'm watching it. And if you've watched it, and like you said, everybody has, there's the uncle who's going to go on, who's the freeloading uncle who's going on the trip, and he's kind of bald and heavy set, and he's always calling Kevin like a jerk or threatening him.
In front of family,
yeah,
by the
and
way.
I'm thinking, if that's my kid, nobody's talking to my kid in my house, especially not a relative like that. I would knock him out. And I'm not a guy that wants to, talk about beating up 60-year-old men.
But I'd beat it. I don't care how old that dude is.
You're not going to talk to my kid, especially in nowhere.
And then I'm going to buy your vacation for you?
Yeah. I would have punched him and said, get your ass out of here with your bedwetting kid and your homely wife. Get out of here and don't ever come. You never talk to my kid like that.
I assume you've watched Home Alone, Kay.
Of course.
All right. It was made in the 80s.
Y'all are also forgetting that the parents left the kid, so...
Yeah, but it was by accident.
When you have that many kids.
You know what? If you kicked out the freeloading uncle talking to you, you wouldn't have had all that problem.
Why don't people make a bigger deal about the uncle getting a free trip? Because he clearly states...
Because last year, I got a free trip to Vegas paid for by my sister-in-law. So, yeah.
But you don't call your sister-in-law kid?
No, I don't call them names. You know, I'm like, hey, young squire.
You're a scholar.
Yes, as long as I'm getting a free trip.
You are... Bad handwriting, you tell them no. That's beautiful handwriting.
That's right.
Yeah.
By the way, my niece and nephews are amazing.
Well, you have to say it, but it's true in this case.
Really are.
In this case, it is true. Hey, let's go back to Kay Nagley there at the News and Social Center. Get us a text message or two. We got about a minute left.
I will do that. A 979 number says, "Morning, guys. With all our linebackers entering the portal except Cooper, what are our chances to get Anthony Hill back? Do you believe that Jimbo will get experienced linebackers from the portal at that position that he has been hunting forever?"
Well, I hope they get Anthony Hill back, but I don't know if that's the reason for getting Anthony Hill back. I think the reason you get Anthony Hill back, if you do, is because you foster a relationship with he and his family for years, and you hope when it comes time, you get him back in the fold.
I think you go after Anthony Hill with everything you've got, NIL and opportunities and everything. I think you will bring in at least one experienced linebacker, if not two, from the transfer portal, and you still have edge recruit. Has Chris Russell left yet?
No.
And Martrell Harris.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's some guys around, but I think the linebacker position is going to be okay.
All right, we got to hit a break here. Thank you so much for listening to the Go Hour. Coming up next, John Harris on TexAgs Radio.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Pioneer Steel, Rudy's Barbecue, The Sleep Station, and Prosperity Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Education is imperative, but sometimes education comes with a price tag. How can you give your child the instruction they need without putting a strain on your income? Visit halfpricebrasses.com. Halfpricebrasses.com works with schools around the area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. These offers are exclusive to us and the number of vouchers is limited. It's our desire to provide your family with excellent educational value. Right now we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kinder Music, and Renner Academy. Go to halfpricebrasses.com.
Paul Feinbaum is SEC country, and Aggieland is too. Listen in to Paul weekday afternoons 2 to 4 on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE, College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. A College Station resident was taken to the hospital for treatment of burns following a kitchen fire Monday night. The College Station Fire Department reports the victim was burned while moving a cooking oil fire from the stove to the back porch. There was no major fire damage in the home on Coastal Drive, which is north of Halloran Pool between Rock Prairie Road and Ponderosa Drive. Drivers from Normandy and Leona were killed in a 3-vehicle collision Monday afternoon on Highway 21 west of North Zolch. DPS reports a truck passing a semi in a no-passing zone struck an oncoming car head-on. The driver of the SUV was 76-year-old Carol Martin of Normandy, and the driver of the truck was 81-year-old James Nash of Leona. The driver of the semi was not injured. Groundbreaking took place yesterday for the future home of BTU administration offices along the freeway in North Bryan. Speakers included retired Congressman Bill Flores, who is in his second year as vice chairman of the board of the ERCOT electric grid.
And I have to say that if everybody ran their operations like BTU did, we would have a lot different outcomes, not only in terms of cost, but also in reliability and resilience.
Construction of the 2-story building is expected to be completed in the first quarter of 2025. 10,000 free COVID tests will be given away by the Brazos County Health District today at the county's administration building. County Commissioner Irma Cawley questioned during yesterday's meeting the accuracy of those tests.
I'm concerned with even having the test and not getting the correct results.
Cawley's question led us to ask Mary Parrish at the health district about the accuracy of those tests.
We found that they're anywhere from about 93 to 98% accurate.
Parrish says you should take one test 2 days before you attend a holiday event and a second test the day of the event. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's our 12 Deals of Christmas going on right now at your local Big Deal store. Hi, Jenny here, and I've been busy picking out the very best deals for you this holiday season. Each day is a different offer, and we have limited quantities, so run to your computer or smartphone and grab it quick.
Today's big deal is 50% off gift certificates from You Paint It, a paint-your-own pottery studio. Today only at AggielandBigDeals.com.
Chronic pain gets in life's way. But now you can fight back with chronic strength using the Vim app from the Arthritis Foundation. You'll find tips and tools to help you manage your chronic pain, set achievable goals, and be a part of a community that offers support. With the Arthritis Foundation's free Vim app, you'll take back what chronic pain has taken away. Download Vim at arthritis.org/Vim. That's arthritis.org/VIM.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M running back Devon Achane has announced he will forego his senior season to enter the NFL Draft. Achane accounted for 36% of all of the Aggies' touchdowns this year with 12 and 65% of their rushing yards with 1,102. His departure means the Maroon and White now have 22 players who have either declared for the draft or entered the transfer portal. Now, the accolades continued to roll in for Achane as he was named a first-team All-SEC running back and first-team All-Purpose player by the conference's coaches. Teammates Antonio Johnson and Nick Constantinu were ranked second-team defensive back and second-team punter, respectively. And out to the basketball court, where the Aggie women took it on the chin last night, falling to the University of Arkansas Little Rock 42-38. Coach Joni Taylor after the loss.
You can't face a team that is as good defensively as Little Rock is, and then we make mistakes on the offensive end too, and that's not taking anything away from them. But we've got multiple lineups out there. We've got players hurt, so we're throwing in 4 guards. We've got an untraditional lineup right now, and so there's a lot of times too that we're not in a flow because we don't know what we're doing.
The 38 points was the lowest offensive output for the Aggies in 10 years. They'll look to bounce back December 18th when they welcome SMU to town. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Yes, the Aggie football season is over, but we still got plenty to talk about, and with good friends on the Louis Bellina Show. Each Monday, we check in with Mitch Light of The Athletic. Tuesday, Cedric Golden of the Austin American-Statesman. And from time to time each month, we say hi to Alan Ward of Brigadoon Brewery. It's the Louis Bellina Show, weekdays 11 to 2, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service, and heard right here on The Zone.
Now jamming this, TexAgs Radio. Presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. FootballTakeover.com. I'll say that site again, FootballTakeover.com. That's where we take over John Harris's life while he's driving here on TexAgs Radio. Johnny, good morning, sir.
Good morning. As I told Nick, I'm about to pull into the stadium, but you know Houston traffic, man. This is one of those where it's a 25-minute drive that turns into an hour and 10 minutes, and that's exactly what this one has been. So I apologize, but I'm about to pull in, so I'm going to be safe.
All right. Hey, I definitely do want to talk a Texans thing with you by the end of this segment, but let's start off with the crazy life that is the portal in college football, not just A&M, everywhere. Everybody being affected by it. It is the new normal, but I don't like it, but I get it, and it ain't going anywhere, at least anytime soon.
Yeah, you're right, David. I mean, it's one of those things where, and I tell this story a lot, I don't tell people I used to work in accounting, but I did for 5-6 years. And people in accounting kind of will know this, but back in 2001, because of our good friends at Enron, the Securities and Exchange Commission decided that they needed to put in stricter standards for the accounting firms that were doing audits. And so they started this thing called Sarbanes-Oxley, and they were adding work that we had never done before, and it was going to be just a nightmare. And so there were a few partners that were close to retirement age and just said, "No, I'm out. I'm not doing it. I'm old. I don't want to do this." And I say that, and I bring that up because I feel like there are going to be some coaches in college football that have the same thought of, "I'm not living in this NIL world. I'm not living in this transfer portal world. Forget it. I've done my work. I've made my money. I've done whatever. I'm out." And so I would think that if you take that stance of, "I'm just not going to learn how to do it," and you want to stay in college football, you're going to be way, way behind, and it's going to be a massive problem for you for a number of years. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some coaches, and I know some coaches that have already just stepped away like, it's too much, man. I can't do this. I had a conversation with a college coach, and he was very candid about how things have changed in a portal world, an NIL world. He's like, you just can't coach kids hard anymore. He's like, but I'm adjusting, I'm adapting. And I think he's done a good job of doing that. And he's gotten players to stay. They've come up with plans. I think that's the other thing, too, that I learned from that conversation is as a college coach, you have to present a kid with a plan. Like, here's the plan. It isn't just you get him on campus, we recruited him, he signed with us, and he's ours. We can do whatever. I think it's turned the other way. I think a coach has to say almost every year, here's our plan for you. Here's what we think, and here's what we want to do. I just, the more I read about the portal, I feel like kids get on campus and then, okay, well, what you told me recruiting is not what happens. Well, back in the 80s and 90s, that happened all the time. But kids couldn't go anywhere. And eventually either they figured it out or they decided to transfer and they had to sit a year. But I just see more and more kids that get there. And I was reading about a kid at Oklahoma State. And I read that he was frustrated. This kid's like 5'10", 165. And he was upset that the coaches didn't know how to use the running backs. He'd been there for a year, not even. He'd been there for one football season, so half a year. And he's like, I'm out. They didn't know how to use the run. I'm like, wow. If that's the world we're in, I don't know how much longer I would have been in it as a coach. I would have said, I think I'm done. I would have been like a lot of those partners that didn't want to learn all the Sarbanes-Oxley rules and guidelines. Like, I don't want to live in that world, man. I want to live in a world where I recruit guys, I treat them right, I communicate to them, and they're going to end up staying or not. But I can still coach them hard if I need to. The second that I feel like kids are getting coached hard, there are a good number of them now, probably more than ever, that are like, no, because I have options now. And so I think that's changed the coaching world. Now, I think it has changed the coaching world for the better in some cases, that you're not going to have these oh gosh, I almost said a bad word, these jerk coaches that just treat kids like absolute dirt. I feel like if, like, I think about me as a coach, if I'd had my way, I could have adjusted a little bit along the way. But I know at certain times there would have been kids that I would have been like, I don't want to coach that kid anymore. It's probably best for him to go. But if you communicate those things, then I think it ends up being a much better situation. And I think kids nowadays want that communication. They desire that communication. They want to know because they do have options now. And that's the one thing that coaches aren't the all powerful to be able to hold your finger on. Well, no, you sign with us. You got to stay with us. Kids have options, which I think is good, but the coaches have to learn how to deal with it. And I don't love it because I think of my experience. If I'd had the NIL or transfer portal back then, I mean, I went to Brown, but still, after my first year, I miss Houston and I miss Texas so much, I would have left. And I almost did just because I'm like, man, I'm a fish out of water up here. But thank God I did because I grew to love it the next season and every season thereafter. And I got such a rich education for that. I just hope the kids find what they're looking for. With so many kids going to the portal, I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if they're going to find happiness or being content. I don't think they're going to find that. And there have been a lot of stories of kids that stayed. I think of Jalen Hurts that stayed for next year at Oklahoma when he got unseated. I think about Brian Robinson Jr. at Alabama. He sat behind Najee Harris, Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs till he finally got a shot. And he ended up being a third-round pick because he stayed and fought through it and had a great year last year. So there have been guys along the way that have fought through it and are good stories. There are also some that transferred and got an opportunity, especially quarterbacks, to go somewhere else, and it's worked out for them. So I think there's a fine line between it all, and it's forcing everybody to have to adjust. And the ones that don't want to adjust, get out of it. And if the kids, if you're looking, as a student athlete, if you're looking to be re-recruited because that's the part of this you like, you're probably in the wrong business too. You probably need to get out too, because you can't just keep bar hopping from 3 to 4 to 5 different schools year after year after year. You just it doesn't do anything for you at that point, and you're not going to have a college education, and you're not going to get yourself to the league if that's where you want to go.
Something you said that really resonated with me, because I look at the transfer portal, and just right now it kind of clicked. It's like a comment on Twitter. You need the interactions. You need the spotlight. You need the retweets. You need to have that, just that acknowledgement from your peers and from the public. John, look, I don't have a plan. I don't like the way it is right now. There should be some kind of guardrails, and I don't know what that means, because I think kids should be able to leave if it's not the right fit for them. But I almost feel like there should be some kind of timeline. I don't know if it's service with a team, days, I don't know. And I'm not saying you have to sit out an entire season like it used to be. Right now, you can just go in, and it doesn't work for me. Do you have any ideas how they could tinker with it?
Man, that's a great question, David. I've thought about it a lot. I think the only thing that I could think of is kind of length of service, I guess, for lack of a better term. If the ones that bother me really are the ones that leave after their true freshman year or their true freshman season, because they've been on campus for 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is, whenever they get there, because some of them get there, a lot of them get there in the summer now. They're not there long enough to even know where the second cafeteria is. And I think about the things in my college experience of where things were. I found out more things in my second year than I did in my first year. I'm like, wow, okay, now I'm getting used to this. And I think there are a lot of kids that end up making that mistake. So maybe length of service ends up being one, David, maybe grade point average, a lot is something else. I agree with you. I don't want to see the kids penalized. And I think sometimes I have to watch myself, because I'm pro kids. I want them to have opportunity. The flip side, I've also been a teacher. I don't want the kids to be stupid. And I think, unfortunately, I'm not saying the kids are stupid, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of people that are in kids' heads saying, hey, man, coach won't play you. You need to go to University X. He'll play you. He told you that in recruiting. Oh, okay, I'll go over there. Then you try and go to that school, and, well, they don't have any more scholarships left. Or maybe they do have a scholarship left, and you go there, and guess what? It's the same thing. And you just left one school to go to the other, and it's the same exact thing. Well, now everybody's lying to me. Everybody's lying to me. Well, it's tough. Because it is a business, and I think the kids have to treat themselves in some sense like a sole proprietorship. But the ones that get the most out of it are the ones, and David, I see this, when I go through, my draft analysis, I come up with a draft spreadsheet, and I go in there and I put in, as much information about the players without even just watching my film. Just, okay, this guy's a prospect. I've seen him. I know he's a prospect. So I put the information in. The number of players that have transferred. But then you also look at some of the kids that have stayed, that have become draft prospects because they stayed at South Alabama for 4 or 5 years, or they stayed at Colorado State for 4 or 5 years. And would that guy have been a better prospect elsewhere? You don't know, but the guy became one at that particular school because he stayed through it. I don't know exactly what the answer is, David. I feel like it is getting close to a point of out of control. I think length of service and GPA, that might be something that they could incorporate. Like, I think of baseball. Baseball's draft rules. If you can go out of high school, but if you decide to go to college, and you have to be in college for 2 years. Now, obviously, with NIL rules in baseball, the same, or transfer rules in baseball, I think you can do the same thing. You could transfer, but still, you have to go to college for 2 years. I'd like to see players, if they decide to go to school for 2 years, before they're allowed to transfer. But again, that sort of hamstrings, players as well. I don't know if there's really a good answer for this, but I know that it gets to be even more complicated when you throw NIL into the mix. When you throw NIL into the mix, all of a sudden, all right, well, coach such and such has promised me that they can give me a deal of $500,000 a year if I go over here, and so I'm going to go over there. So all those things intersecting at one, it makes it really difficult for coaches. But I go back to this: if you treat your players and your prospects, student athletes, the way you would have wanted to have been treated, and you communicate with them at all times, then you'll know what kids are going to transfer. You'll know what kids are going to move on. For the most part, there might be a surprise here or there, but you're going to be in control of things. The ones that get tricky are, coach promised me this. No promises. This is what we expect of you. Be consistent about that. Communicate with your players, and then treat them like proper young human beings. And you got an opportunity to keep the kids that are there, whether we're in NIL or transfer portal or not.
Johnny, I like to use life examples when we talk about things that we see in sports, just for perspective. You said something about how there's going to be a coach, maybe it's Nick Saban, maybe it's whomever, right? That this is not for them. This is too different than the game that they signed up for. And from that, I think we'll get a new Saban, a new Coach K, a new whoever the top dog is, because of having to change your skin with the times. And I remember when I was coming up in the TV world, the Bob Allens of the world, the Dale Hansons in Dallas, those guys were royalty, and they didn't have to shoot video. All they had to do was be a talking head on television and be personable. It changed when I was coming up, where you had to have a camera, you had to edit, and there were a lot of guys at that time, they're like, dude, I didn't sign up for this. I'm getting out. And I feel like it is similar now with what we might see with college football, where you have a Shane Beamer who's up and coming, young, hungry, who's willing to tackle things, or maybe even a Lane Kiffin, as much as that's hard for me to say, that are willing to do this new world of college football. Then you got the old guard that are like, I've done it this way, and I'll try to do it that way, but I don't like it, and maybe it'll cost me my long-term love for this profession.
It could, absolutely. I mean, I think of Chris Peterson. Chris Peterson was at Boise State, did an incredible job. He ends up taking the Washington job, and I think he was kind of out ahead of it. He was just at a point where, like, I don't know that this is really where I want this to go. David Shaw at Stanford's another one. I've talked to both of those guys about coaching, and I remember David Shaw when he was up for Coach of the Year award here in Houston, the Bear Bryant Award, and he spoke and he talked about what a strange, crazy business this was. And I think what's interesting about it, those two guys in particular, when they got into the business, and I think about this a lot as it pertains to coaching, because when you get into coaching, you're getting into it because you love the game, you love communicating with kids, you're teaching and instructing kids every single day, you're learning, your position, you're learning some scheme, and you love that. But then all of a sudden you become a head coach, and all of a sudden you got to deal with game management, you got to deal with how many timeouts you got. Well, when did you ever learn that in coaching? I think this is kind of the same thing. When did you learn this whole NIL transfer portal world? When did you learn that? And I think those guys are two examples of guys. David Shaw said to his wife, it's time. It's time. And I think David Shaw is one of the great leaders of men in this country. But Stanford won't change its academic profile to bring in kids. They won't allow transfers up to a certain level. And then the NIL world for Stanford is not as rich as it might be for others, especially schools in California and the Pac-12. So David Shaw just was like, it's time. And so you are going to have some of those coaches. Now, you're going to have some other coaches. Like, I think about Saban. I don't think Saban was going to retire, but I think Saban looks at this NIL transfer portal world, and he looks at it as a big challenge. Like, okay, I dominated this era, and now they put all these rules in front of me. I'm going to dominate this one too. He's got to get better OC and a better DC. But I think Saban sticks around for a while to prove that he can win in this NIL transfer portal world, that he can get it done, that Alabama can be that program that succeeds in this crazy, crazy world. Kirby Smart's doing it. Like, I can do it. So I think that this actually kind of keeps Saban going for a while, because there will be some like Saban that, like, no, man, I'm going to adjust. I'm going to adapt. These are my rules. This is what I'm going to do. and I beat you then, I want to beat you now. So I think it's going to kind of be both ways, David. I do think there will be some that adapt and adjust to it and find, hey, man, this is a little different, but I like it. It's still coaching. It's just coaching a different way. So from that perspective, I do think there will be some on one side, and I do think there will be some on the other. I just think there will be fewer on the side that say, I'm sticking around because of how 24/7, 365 this is now for college coaches. I think a lot of them, as has happened over the last 8 to 10 years, are going to try to get to the NFL because that is football and football only. But you got an off season, players are out of the building. You can actually kind of have a life from January through, April-ish, and then even May through June, you can still have some sort of life. As opposed to college coaches, those dudes are recruiting, they're coaching, they're recruiting, they're re-recruiting. They're having to post on social media. They're having to tell an 18-year-old kid how great he is every single day and then post it on social media for everybody to see. So it's a different world. But there will be some that stick around because that's what they love. And they're going to continue to do it in whatever way, shape, or form allows them to coach ball on Saturday.
John, we've gone way long, but I do want one last thing to ask you. Try to do it in about a minute or a minute and a half. And it's unfair to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Devon Achane, Jalen Jones, going to the NFL. We've talked a lot about Devon, but just both those guys, what do you see for them at the next level?
Yeah, I think both of them are your top 50 picks. I know I saw somebody had put Devin at, 75 or something. When he runs at the combine, he shows he's that fast, and he shows he's that dynamic. And then as just a pure running back, he's pretty damn good too. So I think there's a lot. I think he's going to end up being a top 50 pick for sure. I think Jones has just risen. 6'2", 205. I mean, he's got every asset you're looking for. I thought he played pretty well this year. He's a pretty physical guy. I think with the number of teams that are going to be looking for corners, and it feels like a lot of teams are looking for him, I think there is going to be a run on corners in the first round of this draft. I think it's very possible he can get in the first round of the draft, but I think he's going to be a top 50 pick. I love the decision for both. I felt like they did what they needed to do. Now they start their clock coming to the NFL and open the door for some other Aggies to step up and fill their shoes there at Texas A&M. But I think they made the right decision. And like I said before, David, I've gotten out of the business saying that was the right decision, that was the wrong decision, and really kind of holding it over those kids' heads. I don't do that anymore, man, because kids make decisions for all kinds of reasons. And you can't hold anything against a kid that's 20, 21, 22 years old for making that decision, especially with these two guys, because they can play. There's no doubt they can play at our league, and I'm looking forward to one, if not both, joining me right here at NRG Stadium. It'd be kind of cool.
It would be great, John. Thanks so much, brother. Let's talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thank you, David. Appreciate it, buddy.
Later, bro. John Harris there on the hotline. And John worked with me at 1560 The Game. It's where we got to know each other. Then we worked together at Sporting News Radio, same company, but it became Sporting News Radio. Then it became Yahoo Sports Radio. And the guy who hired us was Chance McClain, who runs Heritage Films. So see how I'm putting it all together in the same world? Chance maybe should do a little 1560 The Game Heritage Film origin story. That would be I'm going to send him a text about that. That would be kind of cool to do. I think Chance could do awesome with that. But that's what Chance does. He does origin stories, biographies, documentaries, and he's the best at doing it. He is so fantastic. He's a great storyteller, and he can do it for families all over the world, and he's done it. I mean, he's flown all over the place. I'm saying, like, not just Texas, not just the U.S. He goes places. He does your story. He puts it together, about an 8 to 10 week process, and when it's all said and done, you've got yourself like a 2-hour documentary. He could be an eye in the sky during a party. He could do so much more. He is so awesome at what he does, and I highly recommend you reach out to him for the holiday season. Schedule a documentary for your family. The website, yourheritagefilm.com. yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. United Way of the Brazos Valley is hosting 7 book giveaway events this month. Find out more online at uwbv.org. Troop Over the Hill presents Small Town Christmas on December 15th, 16th, and 17th. This is a time to hear and sing along. Lots of fun, familiar holiday songs you sang with your friends and families. Admission is by donation. Researchers from Texas A&M are seeking high schoolers who struggle with what or how much they eat and who would be interested in participating in a program to better manage their emotions and eating. Participants will be compensated for their time. Email tamu.hbrg@gmail.com if you're interested. Once again, that email is tamu.hbrg@gmail.com. Get into the holiday spirit with Christmas 97.3 FM, playing your favorite holiday hits 24/7 through the entire holiday season. Christmas 97.3 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hey, it's Jan from Toyota, reminding you that Toyotathon is on. And here to help make your holidays extra magical. How? Maybe it's driving into Tacoma in search of the perfect hill to sled down. Cruising around the neighborhood in a Camry to go caroling. Popping from store to store in a Prius to find the perfect gift.
You did it. How'd you know?
Or it could be something much more simple, like surprising loved ones in a RAV4 hybrid.
You made it! What a surprise! Bobby, you're all grown up!
And seeing their faces light up when you pull up to their home. Stop by Toyotathon and make this holiday one to remember with an exciting new Toyota, like Highlander, Corolla, Tundra, and more. It's the perfect opportunity to gather with your friends and family, both near and far.
Dealer inventory may vary. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyotathon, which ends on January 3rd. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
Your home for Texas A&M baseball is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Zone. The Zone.
It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got some news out there. Kay, did you see the Connor Wigman news out there?
I did not.
I'll read it out for you folks. Texas A&M football with a tweet that says, "Take notice, Connor Wigman named a freshman All-American." How about that?
How about that?
In limited time. Congratulations to Connor. What a dude. What a... Everybody keeps asking, like, how's A&M going to be okay, you know, with the transfers, yeah, and they use that voice when they do it. My response to that is the fact that is you got your quarterback. Other parts are the harder parts. I mean, are the easier parts. The hardest part is getting your quarterback, and I think you got your quarterback moving forward. So that is the key in all of that. If you want to be a part of the discussion, you can text us on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. Somebody's texting in. I take serious issue. We don't need to get into that. I can respond to that personally. Let's do this. I know that Nick had a question for me, or at least an idea of what is happening with journalism. Journalism kind of goes along with the text that was sent my way. You kind of want to set the table for me to respond, Nick?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of funny that you and Olin were talking about, being first compared to being right earlier. And I know you follow baseball closely, but John Heyman yesterday, he's a columnist for the New York Post, and yesterday he tweeted out, "Arson Judge appears to be heading to the Giants." And obviously with the news breaking, he's going back to the Yankees today. That tweet sent the baseball world into a firestorm. And, it's funny because he didn't even take the time to proofread his own tweet before sending it out, just trying to be the first one to get it out there. So I just thought I'd bring that up because you and Olin were talking about being first compared to being right earlier.
Yeah, so a couple things on that. First off, I've been there. I've had tweets with breaking news where I didn't proofread. I've been there because there is this pressure in the media world. And again, that's why I love working in this environment. But there is pressure to be first, to be factual. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's encouraging you to be wrong. But there isn't the same kind of guidelines that there once was, where your Twitter has become a news source, right? Where everybody's got a voice. And you try to be the first one out there, and you're being told X, Y, and Z, and you go to it, but then you don't double-check it with other sources, and you go first. Look, John Heyman, I forget if he's one of the Astro haters out there. I assume he is because he's in New York. But I do know he's a reputable reporter, as a lot of those guys are, right? I mean, and it's just a different culture we live in with the ability to report news immediately and press send, as opposed to years past, before you went to print in a newspaper, right? You had an editor look it over. You had everybody. You're your own editor. And by the way, I'm a terrible editor. I'm horrible at it. I can see a sentence that I wrote, only if I wrote my own sentence. And Kay, you've edited plenty. You can talk to this. But if I write something myself, I will read it over if it's within the first couple minutes, right? If I look at it over an hour later, it's different. But I'll look at it, and I will miss the mistake 3 times. Huh? What do you mean? What? I don't see anything. For everybody else, it's clear as day because your eyes get used to seeing it a certain way. Am I right about that?
I think you are. I personally don't edit your stuff because you never send in actual text, so I wouldn't know.
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm saying you edit people's work, though.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I've also done it for a little while now, so I've gotten used to, like, the repetitiveness of it just kind of comes to my mind pretty quickly now, which is nice. But, yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of people out there who just make mistakes, and it's okay. But that's what we have editors for, so.
But the big mistake there, beyond the arson judge, which was funny and kind of poetic, if you will. The other part was the fact that, he's wrong. He didn't sign with the Giants. He looks like he's signing with the Yankees. We live in this world, though. You got to be first. And you don't really have to be first. And I know there's a texter on the A&B text line that took umbrage with, I guess TexAgs talking about another side or whatever. Look, I'm just talking about, like, it caused an uproar. And that's the world we live in. You tweet something, and people are wrong sometimes. You tweet something, it catches wildfire. So let's hit a break here. When we come back, we'll talk to Logan Lee, a little basketball chat. It is an interesting week because there are no games in between. The last time we saw A&M play basketball was against Boise State. Was not their best performance, and they got to get back to it because they are in the middle of it's not going to decide their season, but you just don't want to make the SEC play that much harder. Right now, we're talking Association of Former Students. When I talk about them, I'm talking about IamTheWhy.com. That's the website they created for you to know what they're all about. I'm going to tell you what they're all about, and then I'm going to recommend that you go to IamTheWhy.com. But what they're about is taking care of people just like you, taking care of Aggies, current students and former students, and giving back to this great Aggie network. No doubt about that. They give scholarships, student assistance programs, Aggie Band, Silver Taps, Ring Day, class reunions, muster, tailgate, traveling Aggies. That is all a part of what the association does, and the reason behind it all is you, which is why they've created IamTheWhy.com, where there's a collection of stories about Aggies. So you can see the reason, where their dollars, the impact, why they do everything that they do, and it's a place to just see cool A&M stories, cool Aggie stories all over the globe, and you can upload your story as well. Wonderful website to check out, IamTheWhy.com. IamTheWhy.com is the place to go to see their perspective, hear the why, see the why. Check it out today, IamTheWhy.com. It is the Association of Former Students.
You never know who might stop by TexAgs Radio. Jimbo, Schloss, Buzz, Ross. It's TexAgs Radio. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 on The Zone.
Since 1957, Slovak Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
The George Bush Presidential Library and Museum is excited to welcome all visitors to tour the museum. Visit Mandela, the official exhibition that explores the life of one of the world's most famous freedom fighters and political leaders. Building Bridges, George Bush and the End of Apartheid explores U.S. diplomatic efforts during the final years of the apartheid regime. Looking Back, a George H.W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum retrospective from exhibits over the past 25 years. For more information, visit bush41.org.
Let me guess. Unknown caller? You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone.
Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Zwerneman Flooring, Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Specs Wines, Spirits, and Finer Foods, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
And we are back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in. We're going to talk a little basketball because, as I mentioned at the break, we are in a very interesting week for A&M hoops because, look, the season is very early, and we saw what they were able to do late in last season. But there are some red flags out there, and things are causing us a moment to pause. Let's go straight to the hotline, talk to our basketball analyst, Logan Lee. Logan, good morning, sir.
How you doing, Nuño?
Are you at a car shop or are you jamming?
I am at the Ranch Harley-Davidson right now.
Is that right? All right. Good times. Hey, so you heard my lead in. I'm a warrior by nature. That's what I do, right? You know this well enough about me now. I'm a warrior.
I do know this.
I'm also not I'm not saying what we have seen over the first few weeks of the season is going to be how this season is going to play out. But I think we're at a point where you got to ask some questions. So the problems that we've seen so far, is this a problem we're going to see all year, Logan?
Possibly. I think one of the big problems is point guard play. Going into the season, I thought Buzz had kind of solidified that and made some changes, brought some guys in to take care of that. But right now, we haven't seen it yet. KK Robinson being one of those. Wade Taylor, I think, will be able to manage the team. He's going to continue to grow. He's still young, even though he's had a lot of playing time and he's seen a lot of minutes and scored a lot of buckets. He's still young, and so he's going to continue to grow and help facilitate the offense. But that is to me, that's a big concern right now at this point, because as you know, to get to the NCAA tournament and to make a run in the tournament, you have to have good point guard play. You have to have a good leader on the floor. You have to have that floor general that can take over games when need to. And A&M doesn't have that overall player right now at this point. I think the other thing is adjustments. Is A&M good enough at this point to make in-game adjustments, to figure out, for example, Boise State, the officiating was called really tight. They were calling ticky-tack fouls, hand checks out 35 feet away from the basket, and they did that the entire game, and A&M did not adjust. They didn't change their style of play. They didn't recognize that they were 10 times more athletic than their opponent that they were guarding, so they didn't have to use their hands. They just needed to use their quickness. They needed to use angles and their feet to stop the defense, but they continued to use their hands, and you saw as a result of that, Boise State in the bonus in the second half with 10 minutes left to play. And so can they make adjustments in game? We know that they can make adjustments when they have time, when Buzz can talk to them individually and have meetings with them and coach them. But can they make those in-game adjustments? Because that's what's going to be necessary to be successful this year, not just to get to the tournament, but throughout SEC play.
Talking to Logan Lee here on TexAgs Radio. So I'm going to ask this, and then we'll move on from it. But are they potentially running out of real estate to make an NCAA tournament if they just have an average SEC-type season?
Yes, absolutely. The two losses in the Myrtle Beach tournament are going to hurt them if they don't do well. If they just have a average season in the SEC in conference play, if they have a 9 or 10 game win wins in SEC, then yes, the Murray State game, the Colorado game, those are going to hurt. The Boise State is going to hurt because they don't have any other marquee games outside of, I mean, maybe you can call Oregon State because they're a Pac-12 school. Memphis is going to be a big game. But if they don't win either of those games, then what games do they have on their record for the selection committee to say, yeah, they had an average year in the SEC, but look at what they did against the other Power 5 schools or against other competition outside of their conference play. Because their committee's going to look at it and say, well, they lost all those games too. So Oregon State is a big game. Memphis is a big game. They're not necessarily, I guess at this point, right now to date, they are must-wins. A&M is going to need, unless they rattle off 13 wins in conference. Maybe 12-6 in conference, and a good run in the conference tournament. In the non-conference stuff.
Did we lose Logan?
Are you there?
There you are. We lost you for a quick second.
Sorry. So the non-conference doesn't matter if A&M can rattle off 12 or 13 wins in SEC play and have a good run in the tournament or the conference tournament.
Logan, who's got the personality on the floor and off the floor to be the alpha that maybe this team might need? That, I hate always using Q as the example, but Q emerged as that for this team last year.
I think a lot of guys do. I think Boots has that capability. I think Wade Taylor has that capability. Henry Coleman is vocal and leads by example, but it's hard for a big man who doesn't control the ball to have that on the floor, on the court. He can be off the court. I think Dexter Dennis could do that if he shows us the ability to have an all-around game and not just a defensive stopper and a good rebounder. If he can prove to everybody that he's not just going to shoot open threes, but he's going to attack the basket, he's going to do all the little things. I think he has that capability. And I mean, I don't have much hope in it right now because we're already 8 or 9 games in. But KK Robinson, does he have that capability? I had high hopes for him coming in, but I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know if we're going to see it this year because I haven't seen anything that's going to prove that. I guess the next couple of games, we'll be able to justify that a little more and say, yes, he is, or no, he isn't.
So Buzz has a reputation, and he's earned it, to get his teams better as the season goes on, which really was what all teams need, right? Like they all want to be peaking when it matters. But what about how they start? Is it because it is all about chemistry and each other that's why sometimes there isn't that same kind of start?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think we can say that this year because they had a good group of core guys coming back. Everybody except Q basically that was contributing came back, and so they should be rolling right now because you have that group of core key ingredients from last season, and then you add really good transfers, the guys that you want. I mean, these are the guys that they went after. It's not like these guys were picked up at the 12th hour, right before signing period, and said, okay, I'm glad we got them. We finally got somebody. They went out and got these guys, and so they got the pieces that they wanted. So no, it shouldn't be like this right now, in my opinion. I don't know everything that's going on in the locker room and boot camp and all that, but in my opinion, they should be better than what they are right now. However, we go back to every single year. Buzz's teams get better as the season goes. They continue to grow. They continue to develop. They continue to increase their stock. It's just we don't want them to have to dig out of a hole of what they did in the beginning to then put it in the selection committee's hands of saying either they do or they don't go in. It should be, yeah, these guys dominated non-conference. They did a great job in conference, and now they're a tournament team. But that's not where we're at right now. However, Buzz hasn't lost anywhere he's gone. And I hate to continue to to harp on that because I know we said it last year, we said it the year before. I've said it on multiple occasions this year, but there isn't a track record of him losing. And so we've got to believe that at some point this team is going to kick it in gear and they're going to continue to get better and they're going to make the tournament. I still think that they are a tournament team. I think this is a team that, now, I don't think that my positivity isn't on the same level. You know, after a handful of games, I was thinking, you know, this could be a second weekend team. Right now, I think they're a tournament team. We're going to continue to see if they can grow and develop into more than just a, hey, they made the dance.
Talking to Logan Lee here. Logan, I know we'll have you tomorrow with TAP, but I do want to ask you about the defensive issues, which aren't intensity, aren't hustle. It's almost understanding space and area. Is that a fair way to put it?
I'm a little flabbergasted on the defense. They hustle hard, like you said. They are intense. They are together in regards to they fly at the ball, they rotate, they recover, they do a good job. My thing is, at some point, you have to keep your feet on the ground. You can't just fly at guys that just when they touch the ball outside the three-point line. You can't fall for every fake. You need to close out hard, keep your feet on the ground, your butt low, your hands high, and make sure that you can contest the shot, but you also don't give up a drive every single time. Right now, these guys are just flying at the ball, jumping, trying to block a shot fake, which puts them in a bad position, which their teammates are doing a great job of rotating to help side. But against a good team, a good team only needs to make three of those dribble drive pass outs for an open shot. And that's going to kill them if they continue to do that. You can't just fly at the ball. You have to have some fundamental and some discipline to close out, keep your feet on the ground, and still stop the man in front of you.
All right, that's Logan Lee. Logan, we'll talk to you tomorrow with TAP. We'll get into some more basketball analysis stuff. Busy day for you today?
I am. I'm running around all over the place, and we got a sponsored lunch that I believe you're going to be hosting for me. I appreciate that. We are introducing some new people to the team, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be a good day.
I'm wearing cufflinks today, bud. How about that?
Oh, big time. I'm not doing that. I'm not as fancy as you are, but I'll be in a coat.
I'll be in a coat as well. I didn't know I was hosting. I just found out. Thanks for breaking the news. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm just kidding. Thanks, Logan.
All right, Nuño. We'll see you.
Later, bud. All right, if you all want to be a part of the discussion, we can talk basketball. You can do that at 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. That is also the A&B text line. A lot to get into in there as well. We'll have Kay kind of break that down for us when we come back. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Voices for Children is hosting its annual 12 Days of Giving through December 12th. Check out today's story on their Facebook page and donate online at vfcbrazos.org/12days. This is the final week to adopt a BCS Salvation Army Christmas Angel. Angel trees are located at all Blue Baker restaurants and Post Oak Mall. Adoptions can also be made online at salvationarmybcs.org. United Way of the Brazos Valley is seeking volunteer drivers for its Ride to Health service. Drive residents to healthcare appointments and pharmacies. Find more information at uwbv.org/volunteer. Submit your nonprofit event by email to news@wtaw.com. Listen to your favorite holiday hits on our sister station, Christmas 97.3 FM. Guaranteed to get you humming along. Your favorite holiday hits 24/7 on Christmas 97.3 FM. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Get ready for a glamorous night of high fashion at the Junior League of Bryan College Station's 2022 Charity Ball. Doors open at 7 p.m. on Saturday, December 10th at the Brazos County Expo. Enjoy dinner, dancing to the Rocket Brothers Band, a silent and live auction, and an evening that is sure to amaze. Charity Ball is the Junior League's largest fundraising event of the year, with all proceeds benefiting the youth of our community. Visit jlbcs.org to purchase tickets today.
Howdy, Ags. Grocholski Sausage in Bremen has been making their famous homemade Polish sausage using the original family recipe since 1952. Homemade smoked bacon, beef sticks, jerky, and summer sausage using authentic family recipes. Make Grocholski Sausage your #1 source for your next holiday party or tailgate. Grocholski Sausage offers custom deer processing with the same quality craftsmanship they started 3 generations ago. Aggie owned and operated, Grocholski Sausage is on Main Street in Bremen. Gig 'em.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Question: would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Everybody, listen.
You're listening to your home for Aggie football, basketball, and baseball.
It makes me want to listen to this station.
This is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
It is the weekend, yeah, I know. But it's not the weekend, it's just the guy singing. But I've been off all week. Every day I felt like it was the day after. Like, yesterday I thought it was Wednesday. Today I feel like it's Thursday. Yet it's just Wednesday. It's Hump Day. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Kay, you ever get that feeling like you're like, it feels like a Wednesday and it's Tuesday?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm also very proud of you for just immediately. And I'd also like to applaud you. I have not done this yet on your little Spotify Wrapped. Posting it first of all, and then I saw Drake was your number 5. I was like, look at David.
So why does that surprise you?
I don't know. It just did.
You guys just know me as Latino Dave, but there was a time.
I mean, Bad Bunny was number 1, of course.
Well,
so
and I think he was probably number 2 as well.
and 3 and 4.
Yeah,
all of the above.
But there was a time in my life where, like, if they would have done the Spotify Rap in 1998, it would have been Tribe Called Quest number 1, Oasis number 2. 2 bands you don't know of, right?
I've heard of Oasis. First one sounded like gibberish.
Pick a year to me, and I'll tell you what my Spotify would have been.
Oh God,
just any year. I don't care.
Let's go 1985.
1985. I'm assuming this changes in 1986. Just because I can't remember what came out in 85, but in 86, I'm pretty sure Rocky 3 came out.
Okay.
And I was probably banging Eye of the Tiger all day long. There was probably Michael Jackson in 86. I'm assuming that was the thing. Maybe even Wham, George Michael, and Anthony Kiedis, whatever the dude's name was. Are you familiar with Wham?
I am not. Maybe. I really don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Maybe a little Tears for Fears. I do remember my brother, Alex, who I know a lot of his friends listen because he's a good Aggie. I was into the rap game at that time. But my brother Alex, I think, got his license in 85, 86. He would play the Smiths on his little red Pulsar as loud as possible, and I was miserable. Like, when I say miserable, like, dude, change this, please.
You just let me out of the car.
Are
Anything
you familiar
else?
with the Smiths?
Nope.
I know a lot of our listeners love the Smiths. I know because they're of that age. It makes you want to punch your face as hard as possible.
Is it just like hard raw? Like, what is it?
I don't even know. It's Morrissey. You know who Morrissey is?
Nope.
Never heard of Morrissey? I think that was his band.
Is it just screaming?
It's just...
Or just really intense?
Maybe...
I'll have to take a listen.
Maybe at some point, Louis can come back with some Smiths and depress us all and make us think about the 5 and 7 season. Pick another year and then we move on.
Let's just go 2000.
Year 2000. I'm assuming Nelly was in the mix.
Nelly.
I'm assuming right around that time.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Justin Timberlake.
Big JT guy?
I think his second album I got into, whenever that was. Not when he was in sync, like before. He had a good album.
This is his solo career?
I'm assuming Jay-Z was definitely in rotation. 2000.
I feel like you probably had some old Drake in there. Maybe.
He wasn't around in 2000.
Yeah, he was.
No way. He came out in like 07, 08. He came out when my boys were born.
I'm sure he was making music.
No,
it probably wasn't
he was
popular.
like on that TV show in Canada.
That's true. He was on that TV show.
Degrassi or whatever it's called.
Degrassi, yeah.
No, and I've never watched that show. No, Drake wasn't around. 2000. What else was around?
I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Maybe Matchbox 20? I don't know. You familiar with them?
Nope. These names are just flying over my head.
You said 85, 86. I think Phil Collins' Studio was around that time.
I'm sure the listeners won't know what you're talking about.
I guarantee you there's people texting like, yeah. Nobody's texting. Everyone's like, I hate this music too.
Yeah, they're like, I'm over this.
You had a question that came on the A&B text line.
We did. So Quentin College Station says, Aggie basketball has a playing style problem. That system doesn't fit us. We need a normal type of system.
I think you have a system that works with the kind of players you can recruit. That's my opinion. So I don't think A&M is able to get the top guys in basketball. I know they can get it in football. They can, it doesn't mean they won't be able to do it, but that's not like they have other options. So I think you get hustle guys. I believe you do it the way, and I think Buzz is doing this, by the way. What Kelvin Sampson did at Houston should be the blueprint for what Texas A&M does. When Kelvin Sampson got to Houston, they were not a basketball school. They didn't qualify for the NCAA tournament. They were just a bunch of hustle guys, and Kelvin got his kind of players. Not necessarily 5 stars, his kind of players. Those 3 stars became 4 stars, and then the 5 stars he started adding, which he's done, were 5 stars that wanted to play in his style of basketball. They know what they're signing up for. Kelvin Sampson is the model that A&M should be using, and I think they are using. But also, they're doing it in the SEC where there's a lot of talent, right, overall. So that is part of it. By the way, Matt says on the A&B text line, how soon is now? What did I say that would require that as a response? Music, maybe?
Maybe when we were talking about, I don't know, actually. I can't think.
When we come back on Texas, when we come back, Ryan Broniger will join us, Recruiting Country. Billy's going to call in around 10:20, and Peter Burns at around 10:35 is TexAgs Radio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank.